Hey, what's up, everybody? The recording you're gonna watch right now is actually an interview I got to do with Simon Chan for his five-star mastermind crew. It was awesome because it was the fact that I got to talk to so many people around the world just through a webinar. People from New Zealand, Australia, Japan. I mean, literally everywhere. Sandy Dog is pretty pumped up. But hey, I just want to let you guys know this was about 3 days after I hit the advancement of Gold Director, so the energy was super high, and it's just real talk. I mean, I got pretty vulnerable on the struggles I had, how I got past things. So if this could encourage you, make sure to like it. Make sure to share it with your friends, your teammates, your business, and anything, because hopefully this is something that could kind of help you have your own breakthrough, guys. So enjoy it, and leave a comment and let me know what you think.
He's actually got a prospecting meeting coming up. It's in 27 minutes. And he's going to share with us real quick his journey to become a Go Director. So, give you a background. Jeremy, you're unmuted right now. So, are you there?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'm here, Simon. I'm just driving right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear. So, let me give a brief introduction to Jeremy Wright. He's going to talk about hitting Go Director in his company that is earning $1,000 a week for 4 straight weeks. Why it's important? Because that is normally the hardest. Many people, consider that's basically the biggest breakthrough to hit like $4,000, $5,000 in a month for 4 straight weeks. Okay, earning $200 or $1,000 one time, that's doable. You can do it yourself, but to do it for 4 straight weeks, it is really about team and duplication, and not yourself. It's really about developing leaders. For me, it took me a long time to get there. I think I made so many mistakes in the business. And I always say most of the big mistakes I made was when I was between that transition between the silver and the gold director, earning $500 checks to earning $1,000 consistently. That was the biggest things. So that's why Jared's going to share some of the challenges he's had, some of the lessons you can learn, some of the big takeaways, what the momentum he got, and also some tips he's learned. And most important, Jeremy, by the way, before he started, was a famous bodyboarder, and he's going to share with you that story real quick and how he got started. So, with that said, Jeremy, congratulations. It's good to have you here.
Man, thank you so much, Simon, and thank you, everybody, for checking this out. I'm pretty pumped to share, and we just got off of Simon's Diamond Mastermind call, and yeah, so much good energy.
The first time I knew about Jeremy, he started following me from Twitter, I think it was. That's how we started. I didn't even know him well. He messaged me on Twitter, and then we went to a company event, and we were encouraged to bring guests. And he brought in that event in Hollywood, 25 guests? 25 prospects?
23, I think.
23.
I haven't beat that one yet.
All I know was I was sitting in the back, and he kept on, I said, who's this guy who keeps leaving? So rude to come leaving and coming in, standing up in the middle of a presentation. But every time he left, he came back with 2 other people. And then another 5 minutes, he would get up and leave and bring another 2 people. And at the end of the day, he had like a whole row, the whole row was his prospects, 23 and all. So that's how we got connected. He saw the value of coaching. He's a Diamond Mastermind member. And so let's go real quickly. Our time is valuable. How did you get started? You were a pretty famous bodyboarder. I guess you still are in many ways. How did you get started into MLM?
Yeah, so I got involved with this company specifically 2.5 years ago. I've never done network marketing before, but my brother tried about 5 of these companies and failed at all 5. Just didn't really have a good product, good leadership, good anything. But yeah, my background was surfing, like you said, Simon. And what happened with me was I did everything my parents told me to do. I went to school. I got my degree. I was actually on the cover of my school magazine. I worked really hard to kind of get decent grades. I was never like an outstanding student, but I worked really hard to kind of just have average results. And then, yeah, after I kind of graduated, I was in Hawaii. I hurt my back, and I got home, and I was pushing my my sport a little too much, and I wound up breaking my back. And when you break your back in any sport, you're pretty much done. I didn't have an option B. That's all I wanted to do. And that's all I kind of cared about. My whole lifestyle was this freedom junkie kind of, bodyboarding, traveling guy. And then when I broke my back, I kind of lost my identity. Luckily, I had my degree, but the economy wasn't really, didn't really favor jobs. And so it was really, really tough. But luckily I landed a pretty good job. But I got involved with this company right in that time just for the product. A lifeguard at the beach recognized me, Simon. It was pretty cool. I thought he wanted my autograph, but he just came over to kind of ask me what happened to me. I told him my story, but long story short, he called me fat. And when anybody calls you fat, you don't like it. And so I asked him, well, what'd you do to kind of get your six pack? And he told me about USANA. His name was Joe Kachka. He's a gold director. But one thing he told me was about his fiance, who's an Olympic gold medalist, that says these products are allowed by Olympic athletes. They trust them. They use them. So I got on the product, Simon, and long story short, I wound up, losing about 9 pounds in 5 days on their detox program. I lost about 30 pounds in 3 months just with a trainer and kind of using their products, and I built a belief in the products. So that's kind of my story of how I got involved with this amazing company.
One of the things I talk about is never a bad prospect, just the wrong time for the right prospect. And you were actually, I had to talk to your sponsor, Joe, and he has said it took him some time to get you in, correct?
Yeah, it took him and a Ruby director in our company 2 years to kind of get me in. At the time, like you said, my timing was right. I actually was living my dream. I was getting paid to go to the beach and travel around the world for about 8 months out of the year. I was on tour and being in magazines and videos. So the timing wasn't really right. And on top of that, I had a manager who didn't want me to do this at all.
So it took 2 years of you getting. So they initially approached you by the business. You're not interested. Your manager didn't want it, and basically it took you to break your back, and then to be caught a fat ass, basically, in order for you to get started, right?
Yeah, reality hit in, man. The economy was not favoring people like myself in 2011. All my friends were working at the restaurant jobs, valet jobs, getting paid minimum wage with degrees, master degrees, business degrees, and I was like, wow, and they're still living at home and they're just living paycheck to paycheck. That reality was real, and it still is real, and so I realized there's people like the guys who got me involved who still love life, were living their passion, but making a lot of money helping people. So I was humble enough to kind of ask them about this whole amazing opportunity. And luckily I got in with the right people that helped me, coached me, and guided me to where I'm at right now.
So your journey, because since that 2 years when you invited 23 people, you have a certain credibility, people follow you. But unlike most people, you actually had probably pretty good success at the beginning, right? And then you dropped off. And it was kind of, that's when we really connected. Can you share a little bit about that? What happened?
Yeah, I think leadership is everything, and personal development as well. And so for me, like you said, I had fast success. In less than 6 months, I was able to quit my full-time job. In less than a year, I was able to pay off all my school debt and become debt-free through this amazing opportunity. I think I won the 3rd or 4th most awards in the company that year as well. So like you said, I did well. But what happened is, if you get a lot of success and you're not ready for it, you're going to lose it. And that's exactly what happened with me. My leadership skills were not in place. Who I was as a person when no one was watching was not real. I was kind of a fake person. And so I learned all this stuff, the hard way, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, it kind of made me who I am, and kind of why I'm so hungry to learn from people like you and successful people, because, I had to go through that season of my life to kind of, appreciate where I'm at right now.
And, it takes leadership and humility to be able to admit that. And I know you had stated that in your first convention, you had 30 people at convention, right? Which is pretty good.
I had a little less than that. My first convention, actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I got started in the business 4 weeks before convention. I came in with a professional package. Next thing you know, I was on a surf trip in Hawaii, and because I lost all that weight, I made a comeback. I was in Hawaii, and my sponsor, Josh McGowan, says, "Hey, you need to come to convention." And I'm like, "Okay, what's that?" He says, "It's in Utah." I was like, "Bro, I just spent $1,400 on a package, and you're telling me to spend money on a flight and hotel and food?" And I only had about $1,500 in my name at that time, so I had $50 left in my account. Luckily, I won a contest, so I had a little extra money. So I bought that ticket, and the only reason I went is because they said if you don't go, you won't succeed in this business 100%. And so I said, oh, I'm going. So I wound up going to the event just by myself 4 weeks in or something like that. And I hit platinum while I was at convention. But, yeah, the second convention I went to, which I was really in, I brought a good amount of people.
So the second convention was when you had like 30 people, right?
Yeah.
Which is really your first convention because that was like your first year in the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you hit the big leadership challenge where you hit I shouldn't say rock bottom, but the third convention, or actually the second convention you went to. First one you had 30, second convention you had no one. You said.
Yeah, I had close to 5 or 10 people maybe come, but out of those 30 or 20 something, I don't think any of them came back.
So everyone quit.
Yeah.
So what was the lesson? I mean, you're kind of laughing about it now, but at that time it wasn't too funny, right? You go 30 and then you're down to 5 or 10 people. You said it was leadership. They just fell off. So mentally, how did you deal with that? I mean, most people that would take people out of the business a lot of times. It's very discouraging. So how did you stay in there, and what did you do?
Yeah, I stayed very, 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 very close to my upline, Josh McGowan, and Sumi Kim, Joe Kashka, and all these people. But one thing I learned is that whenever things are going right, you talk down to your organization. You tell them how amazing things are going. When things are bad, when things are sad, you talk to your upline. You talk to these people who already have been through what you've been through. And so that's exactly what I did. I was at a point where I'm like, guys, I don't think this is worth it. I haven't made a check. I'm working my butt off. I just don't know about this thing. And so what I did was I really, I shared my heart with them. I said, guys, I feel like I'm working too much for how little I'm getting paid. But one thing I realized is that I just kept going to them, and they always had some kind of solution or some kind of answer. And I was so stinking consistent for the trainings and for the webinars and for the event assignment that I was usually the first person there, guest or no guest, and I was just so fired up because I saw people make this happen. So the only thing that I had to do was make it happen for myself.
Hey, that I would attest to. Part of success, 90% is all mental. And a lot of it's just your attitude and showing up. And for the events I've been to, you know how I'm very anal about starting on time? Jeremy was always early. The couple of times I spoke as a guest for his team, he was always 30 minutes early, and he always sat in the front seat. That was something I always remembered. He always asked tons of questions. He always participated. It's very similar to my story. My first 2 months, I didn't make any money. The only thing I had no consistency, nothing. I didn't have an upline to help me. But the only thing that saved me was I would download training calls, and until I finally listened to a training call that woke me up one day. So it's the consistency. If you're not earning, make sure you're learning. But showing up to events is especially important, and you never know. It could be this. Most of us here, you're probably taught, most of us, you're here on this call, this webinar, right, or listening to recording. You've been to many, many trainings, and you may have heard the same thing over and over again, right? But it's the one thing you get out of it. You're always looking for one idea that can totally change things around. And it could be hearing the same presentation, but hearing from a different perspective, right? I was just sharing this in Australia where some people, they're tired of going to the same trainings, same health, business presentations. Well, there's so many different things you can learn from a business presentation. Don't just go there to listen to the content. Listen to see, learn how the room is set up. Learn what type of projector they use. What type of equipment. How do they explain the pay plan? How do they not explain the pay plan? How do they talk about the products? What's the sequence? How many testimonials? There's so many things you can learn. So always showing up for events is really important, and I'm glad that kept you there, Jeremy. So you hung in there with the events. What was the turning point? How you kind of started getting momentum again?
I think not recently, but just this year, and you kind of know my heart. I'm not going to get too personal on this call. But my girlfriend and I kind of went through a little rough patch in our relationship, and it all had to do with me, who I was as a person, basically when no one was watching. And so I learned a ton about character versus charisma. I learned there's a huge difference from charisma and character. I had a lot of charisma. I could get people to like me right away. But again, they wouldn't stick with me because I wasn't a leader. So I learned about character from Jim Rohn, cultivating an unshakable character. I learned that Jim Rohn talks about character, and I dived into that audio day in, day night, day in, day out. I listened to that thing over and over and over and over and over until I basically learned how to actually live it, Simon. So my turning point was basically that rough patch with my girlfriend and learning more about myself. And second of all, going and flying to Chicago for Jordan Kemper's big event that he has, in January. I went there. I invested time and money to go to Chicago where it was cold. I missed some really good waves. But what happened was I brought this guy, Nick Quintana. And I've shared this, but I never really had leaders in my organization. I just got a lot of followers, a lot of quitters, a lot of just product users. But when I got this guy, Nick Quintana, you always say, when you find that person, you work with that person. And that's exactly what I did. I saw that this guy, Nick Quintana, never gave me an excuse. He had 2 full-time jobs, Simon. He went to school full-time, and he just had a baby boy. And he still was like, Jeremy, I'm all in. You could count on me. I will do this. And he wound up going with me to this event in Chicago, and he helped me believe in me and helped me believe that I could do this. He's like, man, you motivate so many people. You helped me out. I want to do this with you. And so my turning point was learning about character. And second of all, just going to that next level you and learning how to duplicate myself and my efforts. So that was my big turning point just in January.
Yeah, you know what? Janice put this saying here. California is like, 70s and sunny, or, for those who are overseas, it's like 23 degrees, sunshine, no rain, 365 days a year. To go to Chicago in January is like probably -15, -20 with freezing ice. Okay, to go to weather, giving up the way for a beach guy like him to give that up to spend in the freezing weather is a lot. And bringing your team, once you see someone good who shows up with a bright attitude, you do everything for that person to become successful. You don't care about all the losers who quit. You focus on that one person. This business, and for a while, I felt bad for Jeremy. He was like the Lone Ranger. He's doing all this stuff. None of his downlines actually do much. All this stuff he said were quote-unquote leaders. I could say, tell him. I mean, so many names. I can name Jeremy. They told me, these guys are my leaders. I was like, no, they're not really leaders. We always give excuses. Until once you find that person, you got to get them to events, feeds. You're really leveraging each other, leveraging off each other when you get your downlines to events, or to some other training, because the other person may say the same thing, but they're tired of hearing from you. But they hear from someone else, it's like a switch, and they get going. Getting back to, I know you got to go. You got to wrap it up soon. It's gonna be this quick. But character. Give an example of character. Like, what you talk about character a lot. What's an example?
Who you are when no one's watching.
There you go. When people say that's integrity. When no one's watching, what are you doing? That's integrity.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to do the calls when no one's watching? Are you going to do the presentations when no one's watching? And just doing what you said you were going to do. I think that's huge. So many people talk a big game, but they don't actually apply it. And I just like challenging people, man. We're on these calls. We're learning to get better. We want to have success, but we got to do the income-producing activities: prospecting, presenting, training, closing, following up. Do it again. Train those new people. Prospect, present, follow. Just keep doing what successful people do, and we got to get our numbers up. I just recently was at this Golden Above luncheon. One of the people told me, who was an 8-star diamond director, said, hey, you know what, Jeremy, you want to make this happen? 10,000 no's equals rich. Learn to love failure.
10,000 no's make you rich. Yep.
10,000 no's equals rich, she said. And I said, really? She said, you're going to have to improve those skills every single no you get. But yeah, 10,000 no's equals rich, Jeremy. 8-star diamond director, makes, 20,000 K a week. It doesn't matter, but she killed it. And that's what she said. So I learned to love failure now, and I want some more no's. But I want to improve my skill sets while getting those no's.
Very good. And by the way, you communicate way better than the first time we met. Very good. I mean, I can tell you'd be leading your team. Very good. Very good. What are some things you learned from me? I know what was probably the big aha moments?
Man, the big aha. I mean, Simon. It's funny. I was just listening to Darren Hardy for the last 2 days, guys. Team, and I just couldn't believe how similar Simon and Darren were. Simon never even read Darren Hardy's stuff. I was like, dude, do you study Darren Hardy, Simon? And he's like, no. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are so similar with time management and everything. So my biggest thing that I learned from Simon, I mean, there's not a biggest. I've learned so much. I've been with him for about a year and a half, and I've listened to every webinar. But I think for me, time management is super important, and just owning your time, because there's only 24 hours in the day, and what we do with our 24 hours is going to define us. It's literally going to tell us if we're going to make $50,000 a year or $50,000 a month. It's up to us. We have the same amount of time as other people. So I think the time management course that you offer, Simon, was one of my best purchases. I learned about the stopwatch. I learned about everything I needed to know for a power hour. I learned about what I should be doing in that time with prospecting and stuff. So I think that time management, along with your 5 quarterly daily production activities, is key. If you want to have success in this business, do his 5 core daily production activities. And again, that's who you are when no one's watching. If you want to be on stage and get all that credit like Jordan Kemper, trust me, the only reason why he does that is because he does stuff when no one's watching. He's getting those notes. He's getting those teammates. He's training them for hours on end. He gets people quitting all the time. But the reason why he does that is because he's doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? I want to add a couple of things to that. I've read Darren Hardy recently, though. I would say in the past year, I read his book. What is it? Not The Slight Edge. What was the Darren Hardy book?
Compound Effect.
Compound Effect, yeah, I read that. But my Extreme MLM Productivity Regimen actually came out before that book came out. But the point is, right, there's a lot of stuff that's similar in common, but a lot of the principles for success are the similar. It's the same principles for the past 7,000 years. But you just have to take them and apply it to your situation. And it also can be delivered differently. For different audiences, your teaching style, coaching style is different. But the principle of success, it's just like people say, how do you get money? You spend less. How do you lose weight? You eat less and exercise more. That thing's been working since we were cavemen, right? It's not different. You eat less, exercise more, move your body more, you lose weight. Same thing with time management, no distractions. Have your power hour. Don't waste time on Facebook, email, and stuff like that. It's the same principles, timeless principles, but just delivered differently. One thing I want to add to that, so the course that Jeremy is talking about is Extreme MLM Productivity Regimen. Okay, total value. You can go get it. You say learn one thing, it's totally worth it. But another thing I want to I want to add to Jeremy, and then we'll end Jeremy. Is like, Jeremy talked about 10,000 no's equals rich. There's also one thing is every yes must equal to 1,000 no's. That is probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned. If you say yes to any project you're doing, but you got to say 1,000 no's to other things. So if you say yes, I'm going to make a commitment to this MLM business, you got to say 1,000 no's. No, I'm not going to go hang out today. No, I'm not going to go to happy hour today. No, I'm not going to watch TV. No, I'm not going to go. You have to say no, and you may have other projects. No to this real estate investment opportunity. No to this, because you can only do one thing well at one time. You cannot be splitting doing 5 different projects. So 1,000, one yes equals 1,000 no's. It's staying focused. And I think, Jeremy, you've been very focused in this business. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't be at the first one. You wouldn't be attending every training. You'd be the first ones that show up. Be the last one to leave, right? So one last thing is, because I know you have a meeting. You're making things happen. You want to maintain your momentum. What's one lesson you share with everyone as we wrap up?
Man, there's so many, because I know I'm out in the field every day. I'm really building this business. I want to do this. So I know how people on this call are. They're hungry. They really, really are, because you wouldn't be on this call if you weren't. So I just want to encourage you guys, one thing is just to build with urgency. Right now, the economy is horrible. We're in the worst, economy ever. Worse than the worst depression, So I tell people this all the time. This is literally, network marketing is the business of the 21st century. We all know somebody who's done it, who's in it, who's tried it. It doesn't matter. But this is the new economy. This is what is going to move products. This company specifically that we're with, it's the next Nike. The customization that we have is world class. Nobody comes around us. So I just want to encourage you guys to build with urgency. Right here, right now, people want to get healthy. People need an opportunity. We have a way for people to look good, feel good, and make money. And so you don't need to be scared on, is this network? No, dude. Everyone is already doing network marketing. They just don't get paid for it. I just saw Captain America with my girlfriend, told five of my friends went to go see it. That movie theater didn't pay me. In this company we're with, when people lose weight and they like it, they're going to tell their girlfriends, boyfriends, friends, everybody in their family. And now when they do that, you get paid. So, you know what? I just want to encourage people, if you have a chicken list, if you have a scare list, if you don't have a contact list, make a contact list. But if you do have that contact list and there's people that you're afraid to talk to, literally after you get off this call right now, you need to call them and just say, hey, I have an opportunity for you to literally look good, feel good, and make money and help others do the same. Sky's the limit. Do you want to in or out? That's it. Get over that chicken list. I had a huge one, guys. And you know what? I got over my fears, and I signed up the 3-time world champion, Jeff Hubbard, just by getting over my fears. So if there's something holding you back, a limiting belief holding you back, squash it. Write it on a piece of paper, throw it away, and do what you need to do to get successful, guys. Because like Simon said, I'm about to do a presentation to a room of 5 people. I just got done with 3 webinars. I'm fired up. This opportunity is amazing. What we have right here, right now with a 22-year-old company, publicly traded, nobody has, guys. This is an amazing compensation, amazing opportunity. And if your friends and family don't know what you're doing or have an idea and you never told them, you need to just really tell them what you're doing and where you're going. Because you might not have what you want right now, the income like Simon Chance, the Jordan Kempers. But the thing is, you need to believe and have a vision of where you're going and tell people that. Say, hey, you know what? I'm not where I want to be, but definitely in the next year or 2, I will be. You should come with me. If not, it's okay. But I at least want to give you this opportunity to look at it. Because if you don't give people the opportunity, they'll do it in another company with probably not as much training or support or leadership. So that's all I want to do, guys. Just encourage you to have urgency. Talk to people all day. Talk to the people that you're scared of. And most importantly, if you haven't read that book, Go Pro by Eric Worre, it is a must. If you want to learn how to make 6 figures, 7 figures in this business, read that book over and over and over and over and master it. And if your philosophy is not right, read Jim Rohn. And most importantly, like Simon Chan says, and I really do got to go, is that as an employee, you are overpaid in the beginning and you're underpaid for the rest of your life. As an entrepreneur, like we're doing in this amazing company, you're underpaid in the beginning and overpaid for the rest of your life. Chew on that, build with urgency, and make it happen, baby. I'll see you guys at convention. Thank you, Simon.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I'll let you go. I know you got a meeting with 5 hungry prospects, so go get them.